off.
Meanwhile, Fields in the game with the play clock is right down to 0. Here goes Fields. Can he get in? Yes, he can.
Rodgers, Adams, he's got it! And they're going to have to use the timeout now as he's brought down in bounds, but what a play for 31.
Goff looking that direction, he finds Hawkinson! It's a touchdown!
As Dalvin Cook carries. Looked like the ball may have come out on the end of the play. There's a scramble for it, waiting for a ruling. And the Bengals have it! How do they have it? The officials say it's Cincinnati football.
Pylon listeners, we are back reacting to everything that happened in week 1. And oh boy, was it a rough one for the NFC North. 0-4. We're going to get to all of that in a moment. Let's talk about everything with the Pylon crew. So Big Z representing the Detroit Lions. Then we got Remy representing the Vikings.
Some days you're the fly. Some days you're the fly on the windshield. On to the next week. Go Vikes.
Then we got Kinger representing the Packers.
As always, even though it was a rough one today, it's good to be back with you boys. We're on to Detroit. Monday Night Football next week. That's what we're focused on.
And then last but not least, we got Barney representing the Bears.
Justin Fields, first touchdown? All right, that was fun to watch. Good to see you, boys.
Oh boy, gentlemen, we got a lot to talk about here and react to everything that happened to week 1. Like I said, rough one for all of us. So all of us in the losing. So all of us still tied for first place in the NFC North going into week 2 of the NFL season.
That's quite the spin zone right there.
Exactly. So Barney, we're going to start with you and the Chicago Bears. 34-14 loss to the LA Rams. Stafford 3 touchdowns, over 300-plus yards. Montgomery, I thought, looked pretty good tonight. But your reactions to week 1 for your Bears here on Sunday Night Football.
Yeah, I didn't love the outcome, right? Especially after all the weird outcomes today. I thought, hey, wait a minute. These guys might actually stand a chance here. But our defense, headlined by Eddie Jackson, just decided, they weren't going to show up.
Eddie Jackson was getting really torn apart on social media during this game.
Dude, honestly, I like him a lot. I really do. I think he's a playmaker. But today was easily it was grotesque watching that guy. Right off the bat, Van Jefferson, with that deep ball.
Oh, yeah. Great stuff.
Not only getting burned and getting turned around, but just like not touching him when he was on the ground. Like he's like too good for that shit. That bothered me. That bothered me a great deal. And then what was it? Cooper Kupp in the third
wide
quarter?
Open. Nobody within 20.
Just Eddie Jackson's got that deep half of the field, but he just, I don't know. That reminded me of the Chris Conte Major Wright days. But, and then, at the very end, when the under's still in play for all of Chicago here, and my guy Kinger,
we needed one stop.
One
stop.
3rd and 9, and 3rd and 9 and 3rd and 13, and Eddie Jackson missed tackles on both those, and the guy gets first down. It's just, dude, if you want to get paid and you want to talk like you're the best safety in the league, that's fine, but back it up. If you can't do something as simple as making a tackle, I don't know. But my frustrations just don't start or just don't, end with Jackson. I thought Nagy was in true midseason form out there. Going for 4th and 4 twice in the first half. I didn't understand that. At that point, our defense had been doing pretty good. Our offense had been chewing a lot of time up on the clock, playing really good position. And then, I just thought it was clear. All right, let's pin them down inside the 10 and let's just win a position battle. Let's get the ball, on our better side of the 40. But I don't know. I mean, he saw the strength of the Rams defense, and at this point, our very unproven non-strength offense, and he said, "Let's go for it." Not once, not twice, not 3 times, but he ended up going for it 4 times and had failed to convert all 4 times. I hate Nagy. I think he's just brutal. His gimmicky plays, like sometimes you're just like looking at these plays and you're like, dude, like what kind of backyard bullshit is this? I don't get it. I said at the top of the episode, I was really happy that Fields got in and got a touchdown, but like the way they were using him, bringing him in for like one play, and then
it's like a wildcat.
Yeah,
much. It's like you're in a wildcat formation.
They brought him in for the first red zone, possession. He throws like a 9 or 10 yard pass for first down or something like that, and then they take him out, and like the next play, Andy Dalton gets picked in the end zone, and it's just like. I don't know. It's kind of fucking funny. I'm like, oh, good thing we brought Justin in for one play, and it was like a first down. It wasn't even like we really needed a third down conversion. But after that, they brought him in for a play to run a reverse. Then took him out immediately after that. It's literally Nagy being gimmicky, but now not only with his plays, but with that was personnel. I mean, it's just like it's annoying. He should have never gotten play calling back from Bill Lazor. Not that Bill Lazor is the answer, but I mean, I don't understand. I don't understand how that bald fuck still is the coach of the Bears.
Yeah, Remy.
So, I mean, for the most part, the Bears don't look that bad. Is this more of the Rams actually being like a legit contender team versus a negative Bears team? Because I think, you guys got a solid defense and you have a serviceable offense that can take you places with certain weapons. Is this more of a Rams being just a for real contender, or is it,
I think it's a little bit of both. In my own opinion, I think the Rams are probably a top 2, top 3 team in the NFC. I really do. I think they're going to get better. I think that offenses can continue to get better. So I mean that I won't speak to them. They're a good team. For the Bears, I thought for our offensive line, I thought they did a great job today. Versus the task that they had.
You guys got and Jason Peters got hurt.
Yeah, Jason Peters got hurt, and then Larry Borum came in, and he got hurt that same drive. So, kind of a little spooky right now with our 3 left tackles, if you include Tevin Jenkins. Kind of banged up right now. The good thing is both Larry Borum and Peters were walking around, so hopefully it's not something that's going to keep them on the sidelines too long, but. Overall, I thought they did a pretty damn good job. Aaron Donald didn't get a sack until the very end of the game. We had good push. Dave Montgomery, he had to break some tackles before the line of scrimmage, but he also had some really nice holes. And I thought
16 for 108, 6.8 yards a carry and a touchdown.
I thought he's fantastic. I thought he did great. I really don't have any faults here. It's just our big deficiency, besides our O-line, which I thought they did good. Our big one is our DBs, and the guy that you would hope that you could, hang your hat on and depend on is Eddie Jackson. And he was the one that flat out did the worst in the entire game, both sides of the ball. It was pathetic. But I don't know. To answer your question, I think the Bears are wildly mediocre right now, but again, their offense, we didn't put up a lot of points, but if you were listening, we were in Rams territory on like 7 of 8 or 9 drives, and that's not usually a position where Bears are. So
they had a lot of long drives in this game.
They did.
They were I think Collinsworth said Andy Dalton was going to rid the ball 2.1 seconds on average, which would have been quicker than anybody last year on average in the NFL. So they're really getting the ball out immediately to limit that pass rush.
Right.
I think the Bears did something, a good job in maybe exposing the formula to how to beat the Rams, to be honest. You know, those numbers you just mentioned about getting the ball out quickly, the Rams are willing to sit back and let the teams take the short yardage situations. But for an offensive line that had a lot of questions coming into this year, I'm going to agree with you, Barney, and say that they did a pretty damn good job. I mean, David Montgomery was far and away the best player on that Bears offense tonight. You know, if going forward, if they can continue to get some consistency with that, I mean, I think they did a pretty decent job tonight. And I outside of the couple really bad defensive breakdowns, I mean, I don't think you look at that game and be completely upset as a Bears fan, which it doesn't sound like you are.
I mean, if I were to, I mean, I was just kind of upset with some of the dumb mistakes we did. But you're right. I mean, I thought as a whole, I thought we hung with them. You know, we did a really good job. It's just, you know, we had 2 plays on defense where it was just like they scored in a matter of seconds, you know, and you know, a couple missed tackles, and that's a much tighter game. And that's without the tipped ball interception that Dalton had in the beginning. So again, our offense, I was not expecting us to be that productive, and we kept that Rams team off the field, you know, for a long time. We had like 2 7 or 8 minute drives. I was really happy with it, but at the end of the day, you got to cash in, right? And this is a young team. You know, I mean, we got the oldest team, don't get me wrong, but our center pieces are really young, and I think that'll come in time.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Bears are getting the Bengals next week, Barney. We'll be talking about the Bengals in a little bit here when we get to
a little revenge game. Little Andy Dalton revenge game, baby.
Oh yeah, he's circled it on the calendar. I'm surprised it's not a Sunday night football game. The return of Andy Dalton are playing his former team.
Might get flexed. You don't know.
Oh man. So what more to talk about? I think the Bears, but those are some of the instant reactions to the Bears lost 34-14 to the Rams. Oh, and before we move on though, really quick. Kid J, do you want to say anything to Barney? Do you want to rub it in a little bit? Our producer, Kid J, a Rams fan.
Barney, I thought the Bears actually didn't play too bad tonight. They were kind of competitive. Like I thought David Montgomery looked incredible. I'm glad he still like is as good as last year, and he really saved he's pretty much like saved the whole offense from not being like a total disaster. And I thought the Bears defense played pretty decent tonight too, except for like those big miscommunication. But I guess that's gonna happen though when you have like two rookie and inexperienced cornerbacks. But I thought like the Rams, after the first drive there, the Bears did play pretty well. So I think there's like some potential, but I think like Dave Montgomery is just gonna be like the main focal point until whatever they decide to do with Justin Fields. So
Good thing you and I think Kinger, and I don't know if you guys have said it, but you guys have voiced that he's the best guy on the offense. Good thing Nagy absolutely hates to run the ball. He's very self-aware of his best players.
Did you notice that Nagy got rid of his big BU on his play calling sheet, and now it's just in tiny letters? Do you see that though?
No,
I didn't
see
that.
There.
Oh, it's still on there. It's just miniature now. I think he was tired of taking shit for that, so it's still on there. Matt still needs to remember to be himself, but it's not as big anymore.
He is totally being himself. That's for sure.
And I just want to mention really quick that it was very weird tonight for me at least to see Stafford in that Rams jersey. He looks still so good. He is just a really good quarterback. He's finally getting the love that people weren't giving him before. I mean, they've gotten it all off season, but and now he's on a team with a good defense and a lot more complete roster than he probably ever had in Detroit besides 1 year. And that one year we had Joe Lombardi as our offensive coordinator, and he was trying to do Saints things when it was a whole. We can get into that later. But anyways, Stafford looked really good. He's my MVP pick, and so far, one for one in that trajectory. But let's move on now to someone that is a former MVP that did play anything but like one today, and that is Aaron Rodgers. Kinger, wow, what the hell happened to your boys in Jacksonville? 38-3 loss. Aaron Rodgers, 133 yards, 15 of 28, 2 interceptions. Did not look like himself at all. I saw one clip, Kinger. They were showing it at halftime here because I was kind of on and off watching the game. And Rodgers kind of panics on a pass rush, tries to jump over the line and throws it behind Adams for the interception in the red zone there. I mean, he's just he looked a little lost out there today. Maybe not. What are your thoughts on the game today?
Today was a complete shock. I think it was 100% a complete shock, and a kick in the nuts is what Rodgers, I think, was quoted saying after the game today. From the start, the Packers just came out and were not ready to play football. From the opening kickoff, the Packers, I talked about how I was so excited to see this defense come out. And from the opening kick, first possession, I mean, we let the Saints drive all the way down the field. Luckily, we were able to stop them in the red zone. But they kicked the field goal to get the game going, and it was pretty much off and running. The Saints did not punt in the first half. I think they controlled the time of possession, something along 25 minutes or very close to it in the first half of football, which is not a winning formula. We come out. I'm very excited to see, this new look defense. We have all our players out there. Big Z, Zadarius Smith, the other Big Z, ends up, suiting up. He's active today. We've got our full plethora of pass rushers out there. Kenny Clark's healthy. Secondary, which was a strength of the unit last year. Come out and just ultimately, just this fell flat, and bring in this new Joe Barry scheme, and it looked a lot of the same as what we were used to in the Pettin era, to be honest. I didn't notice a whole lot of different looks. The coverage formations, everything. The X's and O's, obviously, I don't know all the ins and outs of it, but basically from what you saw on the screen, there wasn't a whole lot of change. And it looked like these guys, for the most part, came out with no energy, no enthusiasm to play football. And, the Saints just straight kicked our ass. The crazy part is, if you look at Jameis Winston's stats, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions, he only threw for 148 yards, right? That's kind of crazy. I think it's the lowest. I think I saw the stat. It's the lowest passing yardage in NFL history for a team or for a quarterback that threw 5 touchdowns. But they ran all over us. Kamara was a beast in the first half. So you've got the defense looking like shit, and it kind of could see early once it was 10-0 pretty early. You're like, all right, we're in a hole here. And just the offense couldn't get anything going. The offensive line, for the most part, pass protection was okay today, but Rodgers just didn't play well. He didn't look like himself. Some of these schemes that Matt LaFleur and the offense has been, in my opinion, some of the best in the league the last few years in regards to play calling, setting things up. None of it was really working at all. We couldn't get the ground game going, only 43 yards as a team. Aaron Jones had 9 yards rushing. A.J. Dillon led the team today with 19. It was just a disaster across the board. And, we come down, we get the 3 points to end the half. It's 17-3. And I'm thinking at this point, we're getting the ball to start the second half. We're still in this football game. Rodgers is come back, many times. This is not a situation where, with how bad we looked in the first half, that it was, you still felt at least like we were in the game. And then to come out on that opening drive, like you said, we drive down the field, we get in the red zone. I think it's second down. It was second down, second and 8. Rodgers gets pressured. The pocket collapses. He steps up and tries to force a throw to Devontae. I think he had Aaron Jones swung dressed out to his left. He could either step up, either just take the sack and take your chance on third down, or try and check it down. Ends up trying to force the play, and then from there, it just ends up getting out of hand, gets the interception. But I just wasn't impressed, really. Obviously, with anything across the board today. Defense was bad. The play calling wasn't. We had a couple situations today on third and long, third and 6, third 10, somewhere in those range. And Rodgers is launching bombs 20, 25 yards down the field. That second interception was ridiculous. I have no idea what he was doing. Into double coverage. It was, from basically his old goal line. Why not look? Maybe the short routes were covered. I didn't see the all 22. I haven't seen
him and Jameis switched roles. Usually that's what Jameis Winston would do.
It just wasn't good. And for him to throw 2 interceptions, I mean, he didn't even play the fourth quarter, right? We ended up bringing Jordan Love in and not all our backups. We kept our offensive line out there to try and keep the Love on his feet, but it was ugly, and there's no way about it. The Saints kicked our ass, and there's got to be a lot of reflecting going forward because we haven't had an ass kicking like this from the Green Bay side of things in quite some time. I mean, we got wrecked. Well, to this extent, we got wrecked by the Chargers on the road in 2019, and it felt like similar game like this where, nothing could get going. But to this extent, you're right. And I mean, to play in Jacksonville outside the dome, you think Green Bay, that would favor them. And it was just a train wreck.
Barney.
I want to say, that Chargers game. And I would also say like last year's Tampa game, like the in-season one.
Yeah, that's a good point too. That was really nothing going there at all.
I will say though, like, I mean, those games I felt were different because this is the game where I thought Aaron Rodgers not look like Aaron Rodgers. Like that, like, whereas the other ones is like, all right, they're just getting after his ass. I didn't feel like it was totally, like his fault. And not that everything was his fault today, but I mean, he didn't have anything out there that made me think, holy shit, like this guy's. You just wonder because I'm not going to react and say one game and he's done. But like when you're up there in age, I mean, people have really good seasons and the next season, it's like they're not even in control of their own body. So when I was watching, I was like, oh man, like
that's what I'm saying. Like they're mentioning, like the pocket presence in this game was off too. It seemed like he hadn't had a lot of reps or live reps really with a pass rush against him.
No, agreed. And I mean, he hadn't played in preseason in a couple of years, so I'm not going to blame it on that. But I mean, there was no rhythm to that offense at all. Now, granted, they didn't really have an opportunity to in the first half because we were just getting steamrolled on the defensive side of the ball. But when there were plays, I mean, it was bad, and the Packers really weren't ever in it. I mean, once that interception happened in the second half, I do got to make a comment. We had, it didn't matter at all, and this is not even a remotely something I would try and use as an excuse to say that we were even in that football game because Green Bay was not. But we did have another absolutely atrocious roughing the passer call against us today. Savage gets an interception. It probably wouldn't have mattered, but at least would have given that offense again. But
Zadarius, that was terrible. It was
Zadarius. It was perfect. They're saying don't lead with your head, don't go for the quarterback's head, don't land on the quarterback. It was literally a perfect form tackle. I mean, the Savage interception got taken back. He actually got hurt on that play and didn't return. So that was bad. That was the same thing as the Clay Matthews bullshit against the Vikings back in like 2018 or 2017, whenever that was.
Clay Matthews one is worse, but this was pretty bad.
Yeah. Agreed with that. So, I mean, just across the board, it's bad. And, after the game, LaFleur said we got embarrassed. And, I mean, I would say it was a pretty embarrassing effort. Lattimore did a pretty good job on Devontae. Devontae did get him a couple times, but for the most part, that Saints defense was just locked down. And, we're going to wait and see what happens. I want to say, in case you guys don't remember this, but last year, actually, week 9, I don't know off the top of your head if this ring any bells, but the New Orleans Saints beat the future Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers 38-3. This exact score week 9 last year. So, that's
magic
just
score.
The magic score. Maybe that's a sign, right?
Are we all screwed now?
Well, yeah, you might be. That's all I'm going to say. But there's a lot that Green Bay needs to work on. And it's just unfortunate they came out so flat today and put up a straight dud of performance that we haven't seen in some time.
Well, Kinger, next week you get the Lions on Monday Night Football in Green Bay. The Lions like to cure a lot of offensive woes.
You said it, not me, Big Z. I was thinking that, but that's normally what you want. Just a little shot in the arm right there of adrenaline to play the Lions next week. Hopefully we can bounce back because it was not fun today by any stretch of the means.
Yeah, I mean we can kind of transition to that or my game now. Just since we're talking about it, don't worry, Remy. We'll get to yours. We'll have a lot to say about it, but we can just talk about mine briefly here. I thought the Lions had the worst game of the day until I saw the Packers play, so that made me feel a little better, Kinger. Thank you. But the Lions in the first half, 31-10, then they end up going down 41-10. It was rough. Actually, the offense didn't play that bad. Taylor Decker out for a month. We didn't talk about that. It just happened this week in between our recordings. He was out, so Panay Sewell moves to left tackle. He didn't practice there all offseason besides maybe a couple of reps just in case of an emergency. And end up being an emergency. He goes into left tackle, plays against Nick Bosa. He plays okay, which is all you could ask for out of a 20-year-old going against an all-pro DN. So that was a nice surprise. The Lions run for over 120 yards in this game. I think that was a really good sign of things. I just like how they fought back. 41-10, this was awful. The defense was just completely lost in this game, like completely lost it multiple times. On the one touchdown run that was like for 35 yards, there was the San Francisco running back was completely untouched, like not a finger. Jeff Okudah like pretty much went off the field. He got blocked off the field. I don't know what he was doing. He got chewed out by Aubrey Pleasant, our defensive backs coach. And then Okudah gives up the big touchdown to Deebo Samuel. So Okudah continues to just have some major struggles. And even worse now is that he might have torn his Achilles. So that is a major concern. It's not – there's no report out there yet. He has to get an MRI to confirm the worst. Hopefully it's like a partially – I don't know if partially torn's any better, honestly. But the Achilles – I wish it was an ACL. I wish they were telling me an ACL at least, because Achilles is way harder to come back from than an ACL injury. So losing Jeff Okudah would just be, I mean, possibly his career if it's an Achilles injury. And now they have to use Amani Warrior and Ife Melifonwu, our third round cornerback, who is out there in a nickel package. But man, losing Okudah would be brutal, because Okudah is still makes some good plays and he's still learning. The Patricia era was terrible for him. I really like these coaches. He showed a lot in training camp and in the preseason. Obviously not some of the results today didn't live up to that. But man, and then get into the Jared Goff side of things. He's not Matt Stafford. That is very obvious, especially in the trade value, obviously. And it showed today. He averaged, until the fourth quarter, he was averaging 4.6 yards per attempt. That's bad.
pretty on par though with Jared Goff and what you've seen the last.
Until the fourth quarter, our wide receivers had 15 yards receiving. 15 yards. That's bad. That's really bad. I wish he would throw it up to them though. In the fourth quarter, when they made their comeback, he was throwing up like tough catch, like contested balls down the sideline, and they were making the plays. You got to give them a chance to make the plays though. You've got to throw it down there. Give him a chance.
When it's 41-10, I suppose you feel like you have no choice but to try to.
Yeah. I don't get it. I mean, this is what I was reading about what Sean McVay didn't like with Goff, is he wouldn't throw it downfield. He would be conservative, and it frustrated the hell out of McVay and his teammates. And at least in game number 1 here, he was doing the same thing. It's in the stats. It's in the eye test, everything. And then he throws the pick six at the end of the first half. What is the difference in the game? A 1-score game. It's a pick six. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. But he made some really good throws, too. When he was taking the risk, you got to take the risk more. There's a, like, taking a risk is throwing it downfield. Taking a risk, but the pick six was not a risky throw. That was just a stupid-ass throw. That was dumb. So it's like a weird fine line, but Swift looked good. Jamal Williams, our offensive line, definitely opened up the hole, so that's really encouraging, especially the way the Saints ran against the Packers today. I like that as well, going into next week to continue that. Jamal Williams and Swift and this offensive line. But, the fight, I love the fight. Dan Campbell said, last year this team would give up a lot kind of in the second half of games, and this is the opposite. 41-33. After being down 41-10, people were texting me like, "Is it going to happen?" And I was like, "No," but just because I've seen, I was saying this live to people sitting around me watching, like, man, they're going to make me start caring about this game again in the fourth quarter when I thought it was over, and I know it's just going to break my heart again. And you know what? They get down to the damn 20-yard line and run some very questionable last 4 plays of the game. Like, for instance, 20 seconds left. You're on the 20-yard line. It's third down, and you run a 5-yard out. I was like, what are we doing here? Even if you complete it, great. We got 5 yards. And even if you complete it, there'd be like 12 seconds left, and we still have 15 yards to go, and it's a 4th down. So I did not know what the thinking was on that play. The last thing, TJ Hawkinson looks like an absolute stud. So he looks like the top 10 draft pick that we made him. He's our number 1 wide receiver, easily. There's no doubt about it, because our wide receiving crew is, like I said, 15 yards through 3 quarters is a concern. Now, I don't know if that's on Goff, because he didn't really take many risky throws, because in the 4th quarter, those receivers started making some really great plays, like Khalif Raymond, really nice catch down the sideline. Quintez Cephas had a really nice couple plays. But, man, you got to give him a chance. So that's all I got. 41-33. It's a tough pill to swallow. The run defense and Aaron Glenn in his first debut as defense coordinator, I was a little questionable, because it looked like there were just some gaping holes. They did make some adjustments in the second half that allowed us to come back in this game. And a great onside kick. You don't see too many onside kicks recovered this day.
Big Z, I'm gonna say something here, and this is coming from somebody who had San Fran -7.5.
Mm-hmm. They did cover technically, because the line closed at 9.
Sure. I'm just saying from our best bets when we took our bets in the beginning of the week. I will say I enjoyed the Green Bay game the most today. That was definitely my favorite game to watch. However, as a better first San Fran, when you guys were just clawing your way back, and then you
biting
got
some kneecaps, baby,
biting some kneecaps, and then you guys got that onside kick. I was caught. I was perplexed, because I'm like, a little bit of me wants to go jump into Lake Michigan. I'm like, all right, maybe Detroit's got something here, but that was an absolute rush watching that game.
I also want to say, who the hell is Elijah Mitchell? And how does all these random running backs always just seem to come to life in Kyle Shanahan's system? I mean, I know Detroit didn't have the strongest defensive performance today, but
don't even talk to me about Brandon Ayuk.
How does this even continue to happen, right? I don't even know who this dude is. Like, I think he's like out of Louisiana or something like that. I don't know when he was drafted, but some guy I'd never heard of before. No, not on my radar the slightest bit.
Absolutely unbelievable. They do it every year, at least since Kyle Shanahan's been there. It's crazy. And but Brandon Ayuk didn't even play in this game. I think he played like 3 or 4 snaps. Perfectly healthy. So just another bizarre Kyle Shanahan thing that really
I would have loved that heads up.
Multiple fantasy.
Yeah, that would have been nice, huh? Oh, that was bullshit.
Unbelievable. Like 41 points, and yeah. Trey Lance got in a little bit, but we don't have to get into all that. That's kind of my thoughts on the game. I do like the fight that they had, but man, does this team have a lot of work, especially on the defensive side of the ball. A lot more on the defensive side of the ball. I thought it was weird, too. Our second-round draft pick, Levi Munzarike, healthy scratch. I have no idea why. And then Julian Aquara, our third-rounder from 2 years ago, who showed a lot of promise in the preseason, also healthy scratch. So I was kind of perplexed by that. I would like to see what they were thinking, because I have no clue. All the signs indicated that they were going to get a big role. So I don't know. Anyways, a team that did not get smoked but had a lot of heartbreak today, Remy. Do you want to get into it right now? The big play for you in the overtime?
We'll get to that.
First? Yeah, lead us up to that.
So heartbreak is exactly what we're used to it now.
Before we get to overtime, let's talk about the regular time. Regulation.
It was very slow game, back and forth, 3 and outs, a battle of field position. I think our punter played extremely well. And for us, it was just
gotta love when you're leading off with your punter playing well.
And they were putting us in positions where we needed to be for our defense. And Joe Burrow, I mean, at first when we could not get a pass rush to him, he that's how he scored. So in the first half, it was kind of the pass rush was a question mark, which then allowed guys to get open with these corners. One name you didn't hear a lot of was Patrick Peterson because they didn't throw at him, but Rashad Breeland got torched for a very big touchdown. And then you had, I believe, like 5 straight offsides penalties in a row, and their total penalties for that game, 12 penalties, cost them 116 yards. So I mean, they had a longer time of possession. So second half rolls around, the defense starts coming alive. They start sacking Burrow on good third downs, and Kirk, I believe, in this game, Kirk threw for 351 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Burrow was phenomenal with 2 touchdowns, 260 yards, no picks. But one guy that really gave us hell was Joe Mixon. It's hard to stuff that guy. He runs to the outside a lot. Our corners need to be ready to stop him. And so, leading up to that, we're down 3 fourth quarter, and we need a 51-yard field goal. And I'm taking, because Zerline does not deserve this name anymore, but Greg the Leg Joseph, 51 yards out, sends it to OT. And then
When's the last time you had a kicker that made a big kick for you?
Probably Blair Walsh or Ryan Longwell. Blair Walsh when he was good his rookie year. Mm-hmm. So we get to OT, and we have to. I believe they got the ball first, and so we stopped them on third down. Then we got the ball, and first to score wins. We're all the way down, close to the 30-yard line, and Dalvin Cook supposedly fumbles. And from the replays I saw, different angles, I was 110% sure he was down. I heard some of the announcers were down. Even some of the bartenders were saying, he's for sure down. And that really kind of, they reversed the call. So it was Bengals ball. They stormed down, kicked the field goal. And you got to love it. Yeah, if you just go frame by frame, he's down there and the ball is still in his arm.
I was waiting to get to this, Remy, because I completely disagree with you. And we were talking about this while it was happening. I do not see clear evidence right here. I do not see clear evidence.
If you pause it when he is sitting down right there, right there.
You can't see the ball.
You can't see the ball, though.
Oh,
you can't see it.
At the top, yes, you can. It's at the top of the stripe right there.
It doesn't look like he has it right there to me. But you can't tell. You can't confirm it. If this was in a court, you would not pass. It would be a reasonable doubt,
Remy, if that defender wasn't right in the way of the camera, I totally think his ass hits the ground and you have the ball.
Right.
But because of where that guy is, you can't confirm that he has the handle on it. That's and that's going from a guy who lost a little skrill on this one. Okay, so I wanted him to be down,
right there, and I feel like the ball, the ball is shown right through. The ball is right through his arm. Anyway, controversy, whatever. I saw a lot of good out of this team. We didn't turn the ball over. Besides that idiotic blind referee, actually. My bit's over now, but I brought these shades I was going to throw on because the refs were clearly blind throughout this whole thing. On some positive notes, though, I think Zimmer kicks the shit out of these guys for committing all these penalties, and expect us to come out and score a lot of points because I'm good. I was a little mad at first, but I think Minnesota, it's week 1. We'll figure it out. It's good to get punched in the mouth once. And all you guys lost, especially the Packers. So we're all even. It's all week 1 again tomorrow. This was our preseason game.
Remy, the last thing I want to do is kick a man when he's down, so I won't. But I do want your honest opinion. All offseason you were telling us this defense,
yes,
it's going to be a hell of a lot better. We don't know what we're thinking that you guys aren't going to be that good of a defense. That and the whole 9 yards, right? What would you say at least? More games is gonna help, that's for sure. But what would you say about today's efforts on defense?
Today would have been if we would have had our 27 2017 defense, they would have only scored like 17 or 18 points. But today's defense concerned me a little bit because they ran, a little bit. They ran out, and we allowed them to push our D line forward. Going forward, we're still going to have one of the best defenses in the league.
Not good is what you
average.
Say.
You guys got the pressure was not there on an offensive line that has a lot of question marks.
Yeah, and Kirk, the offensive line is what did it. Kirk needs to get the ball out quicker. On 4th and 4, when they blitzed him right away, he got the ball out quicker, and it turned out to be an Adam Thielen touchdown. I don't know why he just doesn't run quick slants when he knows that they're blitzing the house. Instead, he hangs on to it and just crumbles. It's annoying, but Kirk's got to learn to get the ball out, and I think next week we will see Kirk explode again. I mean, he did not play bad, but he also made some very dumb decisions in taking sacks in which I believe he could have gotten the ball off.
One guy I like on defense for you is Pierce. I thought he had a pretty good game today.
Michael Pierce is great, yes. But yes, no, this defense will be superior and beat everybody in the North.
Oh, man. Kinger, I feel your pain with feeling like you got screwed over by the refs, because God only knows the Lions have had a million of those in the past.
I don't even say that we got screwed over by the refs. The refs just made a single bad call against us today, right? They're like,
Yeah, but I'm talking about like a call at the end of a game that screws you over. The worst of all time for me. Well, there's two.
God. How many times we got to hear this Trey Flowers bullshit?
That wasn't even one of the ones that came in my head right now. That's
Here we go.
That's how many
Megatron. All right.
I mean, there's multiple times with the refs. I mean, the Megatron one, or where he fumbles in the end zone and the Seahawks literally bat out of bounds. That's the refs not making the rule as it's written.
I thought he did that with the Bears.
Well,
I thought that was the Bears game.
That's another one.
That was with the Bears game. I know for sure is when he caught.
I'm talking about the one on Monday Night Football where Calvin Johnson fumbled into the end zone and the Seahawks batted it out of bounds. The Lions should have got the ball back. That one against the Bears where he supposedly, he laid it on the ground after scoring, but he didn't complete the process. That BS. You can go to the Dallas game with the pass interference that was magically overturned, and after Des Bryant ran on the field without his helmet, which is also a penalty. You go to Seattle where there was a clear face mask by the wide receiver that he tore our cornerback's helmet off, and they didn't call it. I mean, the list goes. The worst, I think, is the Falcons. The Lions score a game-winning touchdown. There's 8 seconds left when Golden Tate crosses the goal line. They rule touchdown. That's the ruling on the field. The Lions can't do anything else about it. And then they go to review and say Golden Tate is half a yard short. And then there's a 10-second runoff. The Lions could have easily got up to the line and ran another play. But because the refs made the wrong call, they weren't allowed that opportunity. It makes no sense. I will never understand that call. But anyways, the point is, Remy, I feel your pain. If that is what you're truly feeling, that you get screwed.
Oh, that's what I thought you meant, Remy. I thought you meant Remy. You said Kinger, and I was like, I wouldn't blame his shit on the refs today. So it was Remy. That makes more sense.
Oh yeah, I'm talking to Remy. Yeah.
Okay, you said me first, and so I was like, whoa, where are we going with this?
Hey, Big Z and Remy, you guys are perfect for each other because, that was an absolutely pitiful performance by Minnesota today. But if we all want to talk about that's the only reason. It was. Did you watch the game?
But I also watched a team get blown out on Sunday Night Football. Pathetic.
That was expected.
Well, Remy, your defense gets one of the best looking, if not the best looking offense today in the Cardinals and Kyler Murray. So that'll be fun for you next.
That's going to be a quick
on the road in Arizona.
0-2.
So that'll be a fun trip for you. That'll be a fun trip. But oh man, it was a rough one today, gentlemen. That's all right. We're all tied 0-1. We're all still tied for first place right now in this division. Big Monday Night Football game next week, Kinger. So that's our first interdivisional, divisional game. Yeah.
The U.S. couldn't be more excited for Packers Lions. What a thriller on Monday night.
That's right. Absolutely right.
Big Z, right. Vegas reached out to my Instagram and said, whatever you got to do to keep Big Z betting, please do it.
Yep. Yep. Don't worry. I'm going to go to the lab this week, and we will adjust. Best bets. You and Remy, right, went 2-1. Kinger went 1-2. I went 0-3, right?
Yep.
I think last year I only had 1-0-3, so I got it out of the way early.
Hey, there you go. That's the way to look at it.
Definitely. All right. So, gentlemen, we are going to wrap up this. This is our week 1 reactions. Thank you, everybody, for listening. The Pylon on Instagram. Please follow it. It's The Pylon. Twitter, Pylon Pod. Please follow us on there. Please subscribe to us on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, and please leave a review. We'd really appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, so much for listening. We'll be back later this week, getting ready for week 2 of the season.
Bear down.